Alright, so I talked earlier about the elevator servo and needing to put a spacer inside the servo horn. We also talked about dropping the ball here and taking this ball out of here and go ahead and putting one that doesn't have a standoff. Well, if you do it without a standoff, it does put the ball right up against the servo arm, so we do want to have a little bit of space there. For that, I'm going to use one of the tiny spacers from the spacer and washer kit. This larger spacer is just one I had lying around, but the nice thing is it'll drop right in the servo horn, and it'll allow that just that little extra bit of a gap between the horn here and the splines. Let's see, I'll take this back out of here so you can see kind of what I'm working with here, but not very thick. It's probably, just to give you an idea, next to that screw there, it's not very tall. I think it's maybe 1 millimeter, if that, a little bit less than that. It's not an exact science how thick that spacer has to be. It's not exactly necessary to be a specific thickness, just enough to get it off of this this part of the case here so the ball doesn't ride on that. But let's go ahead and take this ball off here, and I'll show you the adding the spacer here. Now I put the dime here just so you could get a reference for size. I'm sure you can see that from my giant fingers, but that's okay. Because we're dropping that distance that we had on there before, we don't technically need so long of a screw like we have here, but I'll show you why I like to use it, because these things are hard to grab, but if you've got a fingernail, you can put your screwdriver in and just hold it with your fingernail. And then we'll get the little spacer here. We'll drop that onto the screw. There we go. That'll rise it up just enough. Then we're going to go ahead and put it back on the servo horn. Whatever works for you. And yes, I did want to record this whole thing so that you can see how tedious it is to get this right. Quite a little time spent in the beginning. It'll save you a lot of headache in the future. So it's worth it. Got the bite. So now you can see there's just a tiny bit of space there between, and if we did have a link on there, it would go on there, but it wouldn't rub, just because we have enough space there for that. That's all we needed there. So now let's take our other spacer, we'll drop it inside there, and we'll pop the horn back on. Now you can see that there's much more space here. almost the width of a dime. Goes right in there, see? And if you look very closely, this is the important part. There's clearance here now, so that when the servo moves, you won't have interaction there. Let's pop a link onto the servo and I'll show you what I mean. As I bring the servo down through its range, the link won't interact with the case ever. So you can have free movement while you're using a servo that has a big shoulder here. That's it.